Kyle Troup has been on the money in 2021. He won the Players' Championship in Jupiter, Florida, winning $250,000, and then the PBA playoffs in Milford, Connecticut. $100,000 went his way for that one, and with that he broke the single-season prize money record that had been set by Walter Ray Williams. Rich in form, rich in cash.
You know, and Phil, one of the things that those numbers do not include is incentives and bonuses that he gets from his sponsors, pushing that total he has won thus far in 2021 a good amount higher.
Welcome into the commentary box to the European captain, Don Barrett, and overall, things are going pretty well.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me here. We're looking forward to a good game here with Jesper, and we've learnt the last few years we put Jesper out early, and if he loses, it kind of goes quite bad for us quickly. And so holding him back and being 3-3, this isn't Jesper's favourite pattern. He likes some longer patterns, a little bit wider. So that's where he feels he can get his hold from. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's a lot better than last year, that's for sure.
We are talking with Stu and a few other players about kind of a lot of the routine missed spares that we've seen, not only on your side, but on the American side. Have you been addressing anything with your teammates on the bench, take a little extra time, or maybe a mental cue or anything with them to try to settle them down a little bit?
You know, we go tournaments and we never miss any spares, but it's just environment. It just does it to you a little bit. It's so foreign to us. Having people down the side. Normally, if you're bowling a finals, you bowled all week to get there, so that makes a big difference. You know you're in form. Here, you know you're cold. Everybody's in the same position now. It's hard to get comfortable. It does happen after a session or two, I'd say, and you probably won't see many left that we will miss. But it is a theme that has happened in the past, and I'm sure it will still happen in the future, even though they're the best bowlers in the world.
Well, so far, Jesper coming out and delivering the first frame. Kyle coming up here just a little high, leaving the 4-pin. Do you think Jesper has the advantage in this match?
I think Jesper has a very good record against Kyle. But Kyle's never had the year that he's had this year. He's been fantastic. He's going to be our player of the year on tour, I'm sure. Don't know if we've done a voting for it yet. I don't think we have, but it's just around the corner. And he fully deserves it. Kyle's been amazing this year. And think about just a few years ago when he first bowled the Weber Cup, he was nowhere near the bowler he is today. But he loves this environment. He loves finals, and he loves bowling really good in front of people and winning a lot of money this year too. So all credit to Kyle. I think he's grown a lot in the last few years and really deserving of being our player of the year.
We've just seen the trademark pose from Jesper Svnesson, who delivered 9 points last year, won 4 singles and was involved in 5 winning doubles. And picking up the thread of excellence where he left off.
You know, I've always felt that Jesper's ability to compete so well in this event has been aided a lot in the environment he grew up in. John Scott's Arena in Sweden, being in the Sweden National League, being on the Sweden national team, I feel that has really prepared him to be a great team player here at the Weber Cup.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. And I think Jesper, even though he wins a lot, he's a fantastic bowler. And as you know, Matt, being left-handed, you don't always get the credit you deserve. But Jesper has the highest rev rate out of everyone on tour, I think, who's good at least. I think he's the most accurate and the best repeater. And we don't have stats to show you this year with the Specto and other things like that. But you can just see he just repeats and repeats, and when he misses a board, we all miss boards, we all miss our target sometimes. It's about matching up with the bowling ball and rev rate and speed. He doesn't ever do that, and when he does it, we think, oh wow, he's missed a little bit, but he hardly has.
Well, a wrap 7 more or less the cost of doing business for Jesper is I really feel he's not going to give up the 1-2 very often during this match.
Yeah, and when Jesper came out on tour, he wasn't a particularly good spare shooter, and this is his third frame of the event since Baker, where he had 2. So, you know, I think this is it could happen, but I don't think. There we go. I was trying to talk him that he won't talk. Trying to talk him into not missing that spare, but I said it's very difficult to get comfortable in this lane. Normally, when we bowl in farm, we're bowling a week, and you know, with 40, 50 games in. Bowling well, obviously, to get to a final here, you're cold. And Jesper's, we do miss spares, and that's just a fact. It does happen, and it comes out a little bit more in this lane, but I don't expect many more to be missed.
For Troup, a strike to claim the lead.
Chris Barnes electing to not play Kyle a whole lot this match. Dom, any insight on that?
I think Kyle was just a really formed player. We did see him practice a little bit earlier. He didn't look quite comfortable yet, and there may be a similar thing for Jesper, where we know sort of this isn't going to be Jesper's favourite type of pattern. So maybe just like holding Kyle back to a different pattern tomorrow.
Well, let's see if Jesper can calm the nerves a little bit and get right back on track here in the 4th frame. You know, just as a fellow left-hander and a guy that watches a lot of bowling, when you see a ball hit that hard, it's just unbelievable to watch, and as a fellow left-hander, quite intimidating.
Yeah, not just for you either. We watch him bowl, and when he gets that look in tournaments, you go, wow, he's just never going to miss. And then a lot of the time he doesn't. When he gets it, he's fantastic. And it's very intimidating watching his ball hit the pins.
A bit of a telling shot there for Kyle, as that ball was pulled left of target, not getting nearly as far right down lane, but it holds the pocket and goes through the pins, and not only hits the pocket, but it got all 10 too. And I think that's been one of the things that have made more 10 pins appear so far, Dom, is when the players do tend to miss, they're not really getting away with it.
Yeah, and you know, this pattern's 5-1, which is you know, very easy for us guys, but it's the environment. It's the fact that the lane machine goes up and down the lane a lot. It makes it a little bit tighter, and the lane has been in storage for a year. It gets cleaner all the time, so it does change as well. I think, yeah, Kyle's matching up really well. The two-handed release is becoming more and more dominant around the world, and especially on the PBA Tour. And they're the best bowlers in the world. And you kind of see with Kyle's release, he gets a lot of forward roll, but he also has a lot of rev rate. So, you know, when he misses in a little bit, not only does it hit the pocket, it's still got so much momentum. It's very strong ball roll. It's got lots of speed, and it rolls to the pins as if he never missed.
A little earlier we were talking about the pesky 10 pin. Of course, with the left-hander, it is the one. At least that time it was cleaned up.
Well, Jesper with a wrap 7 and then a strike and then a soft 7. Dom, is that a move, a hand adjustment, speed adjustment? What do you think that is?
I think, again, you know, my moves are so different to Jesper's, and something we learned in the Weber Cup quite a few years ago is, you know, he's a master of them. He knows exactly what to do. He knows these little half-board moves, a little bit hand adjustment moves. Good shot there from Kyle again. I think that one actually read down lane a little bit harder. He got his hand around it a little bit, and yeah, still very good shot there. And yeah, for Jesper, he kind of, this is where he gets a little bit trapped on these shorter patterns that have a lot of hook built into them, because he goes down to one of his urethanes that doesn't hook quite as much, doesn't have as much surface, it's a little bit glazed over, and then with that surface of this bowling ball, we're not being quite as dull and as much grit, and it does have that length built into the bowling ball, and then you kind of need that for the patterns in the pocket, but it's not going to drive through quite as much. However, he does have 600 rev rate. It's going to send pins everywhere in a minute.
It's halfway, Svnesson trailing by 21, but looking good nevertheless.
Jesper catching all of that one. The 4-pin just getting enough of the 7-pin.
I think it's fair to say, folks, it's a match that's living up to expectations.
You know, it seems, Phil and Dom, we've just seen right around the halfway points of these matches is when the 2-8-10s or the 2-10s or the big 4s start to creep in. And it just, I think this lane condition is just changing quicker and quicker and quicker.
And that's kind of what does happen on this lane. Obviously, we normally bowl on a pair of lanes, so when we bowl a match, there's not one game in each lane basically at the end after we change every frame, but this is going to be doubled out. This is one lane. Saying that, there's a lefty and a righty involved in this, so they're only following their own transition. So this is, when there's only one lefty in the event, that's Jesper. So when anybody who bowls Jesper on their team doesn't have to deal with transition of that match, it can have to deal with transition that's before, and they're going to have a big effect on the lanes after, depending on where the re-oil is. But Jesper's on that side by himself, and we've learnt in the past. It used to be a given if you could have a back-to-back matches, you would. But with Jesper's rev rate, it changes a lot. His sidle lane, not always for the better, but I think with a shorter pattern like this, it could be for the better if he gets there and he's our best bowler. I think he is the best bowler in Europe. Has potential to go on to be the best European bowler ever. I think Mika has the most titles at the moment. He's fantastic, and Jesper's so young still.
Well, before that, it could not have been closer. 3-3, 1-4-8, 1-4-8. And then Svnesson strikes. Can Troup keep pace? Kyle brings the style.
You could definitely tell Kyle slowed the speed down and made sure that ball read the lane and got back up to the 1-3 pocket. He didn't want to leave that 2-8-10 again.
Yeah, I was still surprised that 2-8-10 stood because he did miss a little bit right, but there is built-in friction into the pattern of this lane weight right now, of the pattern we're bowling on. Kind of did expect it to make more of an effort than it did for the 2-8-10, but that was a good adjustment by Kyle. He kept the speed down, he kept it a little bit shallower in the front part of the lane with his projection, and very good shot.
Well, the two teams in a dead heat through 7 frames, and it's going to come down to what I believe, Dom, is who flinches here in the end.
So that's the one that Jesper misses his target, and everyone goes, oh my goodness, Jesper missed his target. I missed my target way more than that. And his rev rate just brings it back all the time. And it wasn't even that far, it's probably like a board down lane, board and a half, it's not much.
This ball hits so hard. Jesper liking the result. Both teams take it off the sheet, 268. So we definitely have the possibility for a tie. You hear Kyle asking the ball to push. That means the player has generally pulled the shot. It is going to hook high. He wants the ball to stop hooking. And that's exactly what he got.
Yeah, good shot from Kyle. Obviously, we don't know exactly what happened in the 6th frame there when he 2-8-10, but obviously having to shut his angles down a little bit, that does sort of happen. You have a miss one way or the other. And typically, if you're on a hooking lane, you try and miss right. If you're on a lane that has a bit of hold, you don't try and miss left really, but that would be a miss. And good adjustments from Kyle to keep the ball in play and hit the head pin, and it's rev rate. You don't have to just worry about keeping the ball in play when you have a 600. Well, probably rev rate for Kyle's probably like 525, I'd say, which a high rev rate for a one-hander would be about 500. So a lot of advantages for kids at home to take their thumb out of the ball when they start bowling.
This is some bowling from Jesper Svnesson. It really is. The whole session could rest on the next handful of frames.
Well, Jesper really using all of his power here to continue striking and keep the pressure on the American side. And you know, everybody back at John Scott's Arena in Sweden is rooting alongside all these European fans and supporters that have come out here to the arena. Kyle stepping up in the 9th, a strike to keep them tied with the Europeans.
He was talking about it himself in commentary, the pesky 10. And it stays there, and that could make a significant difference. It should make a significant difference.
Well, it just changes the complete complexion of this match, where instead of being tied, Jesper's only going to need... Jesper will just need a mark to close out the match for the Europeans instead of possibly a strike to tie. That definitely changes things here for the Europeans, Don.
Yeah, I feel a little bit for Kyle on that one. That was the one that kind of leaked a little bit right. He made sure it wasn't going to 2-8-10 again, and this kind of, that wrap 10 where it just gets a little bit behind the head pin. But, they've both bowled a really good game. Both had an open frame. Kyle's was just with that 2-8-10, and yes, we missed a single pin, but strike now to win.
A mark or a strike.
And if Kyle strikes, it's 257. If Jesper goes 9 spare, it's also 257. Yeah. So, yeah, one big shot here from Jesper.
And that's a winner.
Bingo! Jesper Svnesson was a hero on a losing team in 2020. He started out heroically in 2021. This man will take all the beating, let me tell you that.
Yeah, good game from Kyle. Like 257, it's going to be pretty close most times. But Jesper's probably the best bowler on this lane out of all 10 of us, and glad he's on our side.
So for the 3rd time, the Europeans lead. It was 1-0, it was 2-1. What a performance from the Swede. They call him the Iceman, and he just didn't thaw under pressure. It was a good performance from Kyle Troup. To shoot 257 is no disgrace, but it wasn't good enough to beat Svnesson. He put so much